Good afternoon. It is a new era of Blazers basketball because for the first time in nearly 40 years, someone other than the Allen family is running the show in Rip City. Texas billionaire Tom Dundon and his group of investors are now in charge to the tune of $4.2 billion. And in just a few minutes, they'll be holding their first news conference since taking over the team. Thanks for joining us here on KGW Plus. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Dundon made his pitch to the NBA's Board of Governors last week, and then the deal officially went through this week. Orlando Sanchez is at Moda Center right now, where that news conference is about to get started in about 10 minutes or so. Orlando, this is a pivotal moment. So what is the vibe there in the room? Who's all there? Set the scene for us.
Yeah, Christine, definitely the vibes are up. It's a pretty big atmosphere in this room, which is on the 4th floor of the Moda Center. So I would say there's a few hundred people in the building right now, all excited to hear from the new ownership group. Behind us, behind the camera right now, I would say there's a ton of Moda Center and Portland Trail Blazers staff who are all gathering around waiting, because behind me there's a set of 5 microphones where General Manager Joe Cronin, as well as Team President Dewayne Hankins, will take the stage alongside a few members of the new ownership group, starting with Tom Dundon. And Christine, as you mentioned, they're set to talk here in a little under 10 minutes, but there's a ton of anticipation about what could be with this new era. As you guys mentioned, the Portland Trail Blazers, the biggest show in town, the biggest professional sports team in Portland, and now change is on the way. And really the question overlooking all of this is, how much change will there be? We've seen in the past with ownership groups from other teams and other leagues have all wanted to put their stamp on it, their touch on how they want the team to look and how they want the team to be. And it's come with drastic changes and it's come with small changes. We're talking sweeping changes across, the roster of the team, the staff, or even the workers within the organization, or it could be as small as changing logos or changing things like that to fit maybe a look or a style, or maybe it's a game day experience involving the Portland Trail Blazers here at the Moda Center. So just a lot of questions that we're all excited to hear about and answer. And let me just preface this by saying, you guys mentioned it's been since 1988 that, an Allen has owned this team, and now it's going to have a new ownership group. Well, when Jody Allen took over and was running the team, so to speak, under the Allen estate, we didn't hear from Jody when she took over in 2018 after the passing of Paul Allen. We never had a press conference like this. And so right off the bat, we're having the opportunity to get to hear from the new owner who's going to be leading the charge and who could potentially be making changes to this organization. So a lot of anticipation and a lot of curiosity and maybe even some concern about the future of Rip City. Christine, David?
Yeah, curiosity, uncertainty. I have a feeling that Tom Dundon wants to do more than change the logo, if that's even on the table, Orlando. It's hard to overstate what this franchise means to the Rose City, what it means to the city, what it means to the people who live here, what it means to the fans. And I guess the million or perhaps $4.2 billion question that people want answered, want certainty in some way, shape, or form. Will Tom Dundon commit to keeping the Blazers in the Rose City? What do you think?
That's been the biggest question since Paul Allen passed away, was the future of this organization in Portland and making sure that the future is certain and that this team will always be in Portland. That, I think, is the main theme behind the ownership change. And no matter who it was going to be, that was going to be the question that deserves an answer to and a commitment to. And the league has alluded to it, the Trailblazers have alluded to it, and it's going to be, how much public funding, how much funding is involved in a renovation to the Moda Center and to a new arena, so to speak. And I think those will all be underlying issues within the Trailblazers playing here in the future. But I think that will be one of the key questions going into this press conference. We've seen a couple of individual one-on-one interviews with some of our local media members here that had a chance to go one-on-one with Tom Dundon in LA during the Clippers game a couple of days ago. And we got somewhat of an answer of assurance from one report with the Oregonian, where another report not so much with the Athletic and Jason Quick. So again, that will be one of the main themes today that we learn more about from Tom Dundon and his ownership group.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans trying to stay positive right now. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of uncertainty, but hoping that they'll stay in Portland. But Orlando, for people who don't know all that much about Dundon, you know, he owns the Carolina Hurricanes. Before he owned the team, that team didn't make playoffs for like 9 years. After he started owning the team, they made playoffs for 7 consecutive seasons. I mean, this guy is in sports. He also owns a pro pickleball league. And the words a lot of people might use from what they've seen from him might be something like demanding or intense. So what can you tell us about his reputation, maybe his priorities?
I think that's what I'm excited to hear from Tom directly, just to get body language, his tone, those type of things in person. We haven't had that chance yet as he took over for the Trailblazers. We've seen interviews on video with the Hurricanes, but this is a totally different scenario. But that's been a challenge for you know, some Trailblazers fans, just hearing the writing about that, reading about him and his rigidness and directness and being somewhat of a straight shooter, and that might, you know, rub people the wrong way. So I think that will be interesting to follow, and we'll all get our chance to come to our own conclusion in terms of tone and how he answers certain questions. But it seems like there's not a lot of finesse there, and he's very direct, and that could, you know, upset people. And we've read stories about how he's upset people, you know, at Carolina, but as you've mentioned, it's also come with results. And, you know, that team was really bad and had 9 consecutive losing seasons, and now he's turned that into a perennial playoff team and even knocking on the door of a Stanley Cup. And he's invested in talent with that team, and that's one thing that's undeniable. And while there is really no true comparison, and it's apples and oranges from hockey to basketball, there's at least an example to point to that he's done something similar with a franchise that was in a rough patch and turned them into a winner.
Now, we're under about 3 minutes here. You mentioned Tom Dundon there, some of the interviews from earlier in the week on the sidelines of the Clippers game there. One of his quotes: "I'm just obsessed with trying to find a way to get better. I cannot handle losing," end quote. I mean, that's pretty direct. You know, but what do we know about the minority owners who are also part of this investment group, right? Because one of them apparently is a venture capitalist. His name's Sheel, Tyle, who has formed a relationship with Damian Lillard before this deal even got started.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement around him, and he might be the good cop in this scenario, especially after reading that profile piece that The Athletic had published by Jason Quick, who wrote the story. And just his bond with Damian Lillard, how they met at the gym and how they've stayed in contact. And basically Dame has kind of co-signed for him and being like, he's one of us. He cares about Portland, and he wants to see this franchise stay in Portland, which I think is something that all fans are going to be excited about. And so just his personality from that standpoint, he's more of the local connection, if you will. He's lived in Portland the past couple of years, and his wife is a director of the Oregon Health Authority. So there is that connection. There's that sign of community that he does care about Portland. So that is, I think he's going to be somewhat of a fan favorite, at least early on, especially after reading that piece about his love and care for the city of Portland.
Yeah, speaking of some of the people in this ownership group, I mean, expected to speak at this news conference, Tom Dundon, of course. Also, co-owner Andrew Cherng, which is the co-CEO of Panda Restaurant Group, the umbrella of Panda Express, as many of us know, Sheel, Tyle, who we just spoke about, and also team president Dewayne Hankins, GM Joe Cronin. Now, I'm also wondering, Orlando, this is a franchise that's taken a really big step forward in the past couple seasons. Players like Denny Avdia, Donovan Kling, and Dame returning next season. So what do you think this all means for them?
Yeah, that falls under the category of uncertainty and what his approach, Tom Dundon's approach, will be with the basketball side of things. Will he want his own guys? We've seen teams like the Phoenix Suns and their new owner come in and immediately make a splash and trade for a superstar player. Or we've seen other owners come in and not been quite as aggressive in putting their stamp on it immediately. So that's one of the things that we'll have to see play out with this team, but there's no doubt that this team has started to rise up, maybe not as quickly as Blazers fans would have liked, but as you guys mentioned, to have a true all-star in Denny Avdia, and you pair that with Damian Lillard, who is a top 75 all-time player, and you've seen the rise of Donovan Clingan and the player that he's turned into in just his sophomore season. There's no doubt that there are pieces there that will contribute to winning. It's just how deep and how many changes will he make around them to, make this team a winner that Tom Dundon will put them in the best position to win. Those are all questions that are part of the uncertainty and curiosity with this new era of Portland Trail Blazers basketball.
Yeah, change is big and small. It's just past 3 o'clock, almost 3:01 here, so we'll see how timely the team's new ownership is. Before we let you go, as we wait for them to take the podium there, Moda needs to be upgraded. The state has already chipped in some $350 million. We're waiting on the city and county. Where does that stand? How critical is it that comes together quick?
Yeah, I think that's going to be at the heart of the main topic of this and the future of the Portland Trail Blazers. And that's been the question all along, is will that be enough? And those questions have already come up in those one-on-one interviews that we've talked about with Jason Quick of The Athletic, as well as, with the Oregonian and Bill Oram, and wondering, hey, will the $600 million being approved for renovations be enough? Will that provide enough assurance that you're going to be here long term? And reading his piece within the Oregonian, he said, of course, getting that I think matters. Whereas with the Athletic story, there's been a little more to it and a little more nuance there, but I do think that getting that support, getting the money behind it, is going to make it really tough to even have that discussion about the future of the Portland Trail Blazers and this team moving away. And now I can feel the room kind of go quiet here, and it looks like they're about to take the podium. Guys.
Looks like the advance crew walking in there ahead of Dundon and whatnot. Again, this is all, of course, coming on the heels of the $4.25 billion purchase made by Texas billionaire Tom Dundon and a consortium of investors there. Dundon owns the NHL, the Carolina Hurricanes, Pro Pickleball League, and a premier golf course in Dallas. Interesting, there's a venture capitalist. We've been talking about him. His name is Sheel Tyle. He's 34 years old. He's been in Portland for a couple of years, in Oregon for a couple of years, because he's married to the new director of the Oregon Health Authority. And he and Damian Lillard, who is, of course, out for the season because of injuries, formed a friendship, basically at the gym, according to reports in The Athletics, on the sidelines before this deal even took shape.
Yeah, really interesting reporting there. And speaking of Tyle, yes, he's based out of Portland, but according to The Athletic, 34 years old and now reportedly the youngest to ever own a part of the Blazers. Again, that's according to The Athletic. And we're just watching as Dundon and the team kind of fill the stage. We just saw Andrew Cherng there, again, this co-CEO of Panda Restaurant Group, get on the stage. Sheel Tyle on the stage.
Hello, everybody.
Looks like it's starting now. Let's listen in.
I have not seen this room this full in my 10 years being here, but that's what happened. Celebrate. And that's what we're doing today. Thank you all for being here. My name is Lamar Hurd, TV analyst for the Blazers, and it's my honor to welcome and introduce a group of people to you that you will come to know and love. We are thrilled to introduce our Rip City Rising ownership group, led by Tom Dundon. Tom will serve as governor, and he is joined by Andrew Cherng and Sheel Tyle, who will serve as alternate governors. Also joining us today is our President of Business Operations, Dewayne Hankins, and our General Manager, Joe Cronin. I'm going to hand it off to Tom, Andrew, and Sheel for brief remarks. And after that is done, we'll open it up for a Q&A. With that, let's get the party started. Tom?
Thanks, bud. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming. I think the main message for us right now is the franchise hasn't had as much success in the past few years as it did historically. And I think our expectation is that's starting to change and will continue to change. So I think the focus that's been the last few years around development, which is now around winning, right? And so we've tried to get this message through the last couple of days that was fun and probably necessary, but it's more fun to win, and it's more fun to do the things that lead to success. And hopefully we'll start creating more habits that those processes lead to the kind of winning that I expect, and I think everybody expects. I want to thank, the family that sold us this team did a really nice job, and it gets uncomfortable sometimes talking about what we want to do next. So I really appreciate everything the Allen family did. They've built this building is pretty neat, right? Like when you walk around it needs some work, but it's still something we can be proud of and then improve upon. And that's how I feel about everything they've done. Like they've created this legacy that now, with a little love and care, maybe we can keep making better and better. We spent some time with Joe and Dewayne and the people that work for the Trailblazers, and we're very fortunate. It's a really good group of people. They care. There's nothing I don't think we can accomplish if we just start focusing on a little bit of improvement every day. And I feel like all the pieces are here. There's not something I'm worried about. Now it's just, the only thing I'm kind of worried about is the speed and pace and intensity at which we're about to get going might be a little different, and we just got to get people there quickly. I didn't grow up set out or intend to be in this position, so I want everybody to understand how lucky I am. It's the responsibility to make sure fans and the community are proud of what we do. And like I say, part of that's winning, but it's also how you treat your fans, how long it takes to get in the building, what the food tastes like. All these things are important, and I probably think about them more than most, and we won't stop thinking about it ever. We will continue to try to make the experience here great while we're expecting to win, and hopefully you'll see that over time. The last thing is I couldn't have done this without a couple of my partners that are here, and I'm really thankful to them. And I think as a group, we should be pretty powerful. So this is one of my partners, Andrew, so I want him to say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm excited. And as a new owner, we're 1-0, so let's keep it that way. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming.
And our local partner, who I think you'll see the most of, Sheel.
Thanks, Tom. I just want to say a few things and start with a few thank yous. I see some franchise legends here, so thank you guys. Thank you for everybody who came. I know you guys took a lot of time out of your busy schedules. Special thank you to my wife, Sejal, who's the reason we are in Oregon. Honestly, she's the star of the family, so I hope you guys get to spend some time with her. I really wanted to say two things today. The first is about the power of sport. I think folks often ask, why did you do this? And to me, one of the most special things about sport in this country, in this state, in this city, is the power to bring people together. It doesn't actually matter where you come from, how you pray, who you love, etc. All that matters is on game day, is that in our case, it's all about the Portland Trailblazers. And that is something we feel passionately about in this ownership group, and is something that we think we need right now in this country and in this world. Second thing I want to talk about is Portland. Portland is my home. Our daughter Sia, who will be here today, she's taking her second nap right now, so actually we'll see if she makes it, was born at OHSU, not too far away. And this place, I know Tom might not think so, but I think has the best food in the country, and is just an incredible place to live. We called our ownership group Rip City Rising for a very specific reason. We could have called it other things. Could have called it Rip City Stabilizing. We could have called it Rip City Reminiscing. We called it Rip City Rising, and that was a unanimous decision all of us made. And it was because we believe Portland was a world-class city, and it can again be a world-class city, and then potentially ascend beyond that. We think the Blazers can and should play a small role in that, and we're really excited to do that with all of your guys' help. And the last thing I'll say is I have gotten, as somebody who lives in Portland, I have gotten to know these guys and some of our amazing other partners, Mark, Stan, Richard, etc., over the last year. And I can tell you, this is a group that you guys will be proud of. Tom came from nothing and risked it all to essentially achieve all that he has achieved. Andrew, to do what he did, when he did it, Andrew and Peggy, nothing short of extraordinary. And I mean, it's almost making me tear up to just talk about your guys' stories, but like, this is an incredible group of people that I think you will realize will fight every day to have your guys' back. So with that, thank you.
Thanks, bud. You're up.
All right, I'm back. Thank you all for all of that. We are going to open it up now for the Q&A. We have mics that we're passing around. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. I know our first question will go to Bill Oram, right there.
Hey guys, congratulations. Tom, you've obviously talked about the amount of work that needs to happen and has already started happening. How is this organization going to be different a year from today than it is right now?
That's a good question. So, like I say, I think all the pieces are here. I think just the pace at which we want to move and maybe the expectations probably are going to be different. I think we've started that, and there's no real secrets, right? Everybody talks about commitment and passion and structure and expectations and standards, and it's just how committed are you to that every day and getting everybody to do it. And I think, I don't know if you'll notice or not, but I sure hope you do.
Tom, hi. Jason Quick with The Athletic. I've got two questions for you. First, do you care about being liked?
It's in the list of things I care about, it's lower. But yeah, I don't think anybody who says they don't care what people think isn't telling the truth, right? Of course. But I think I care more about my character than my reputation, and I know what I do every day, and I want to win and achieve things without hurting anybody. And there's nothing about me that doesn't want to do the right thing. I do it every day. But if we have to trade a player, we're going to trade the player. If we need to make a decision that's best for the Portland Trail Blazers, I'm going to make those decisions. That doesn't mean I'm going to love doing it. And everybody I know that has whatever that responsibility or burden is, struggles with the hard decisions, and I do too, and I don't like it, but I'll do it because it's best for the organization.
My second question is, after the Clippers game, there was a video the team put out where Joe Cronin gave you the game ball, and you made a few comments, and I couldn't really tell, but I think you might have been emotional in your words. I'm curious, were you emotional, and if so, why?
Caught that. So
Yes, he was emotional.
Yeah, like I say, I'm so lucky to get to do this, and I put the way I want our players to do things that are not hard, that are not easy, and you want to push them because it's difficult to play all these games. They make a lot of money, and that's irrelevant. What's relevant is how hard their job is. The travel's hard, the commitment's hard, and I think sometimes we take for granted, well, you're in NBA, you're playing pro sports, and you're so lucky, and they are, but at the same time, I really appreciate when you see that kind of effort, and that's all I want. If we lose and it looks like that, then I'll be happy. We'll try to get better players, but if they do that, so I so appreciate it, and I think that's the reason I felt that way is we kind of came in that day with, I'm not going to meet with the team, I don't do that. I do it once, say hello, and say, here's the standard. And it was probably coincidence, but when it looks like that, then that's what makes me sort of, whether it's emotional or happy but my whole thing is, okay, we did it, what's next? Like, we can do better again, so.
Hey, Andrew, this is questions for Andrew. Joe Freeman with The Oregonian. I wonder, can you tell us how you became involved in this, how you got connected with Tom, and why did you decide to get involved in this sports ownership gig?
I'm a fan, and actually, I was not thinking of this way because I don't live here, right? You know, so, and as a Chinese, I love the fact we have a prospect in Hansen Young, you know, so it got me thinking. And Tom is a winner, and he's done a wonderful job with his previous team. So, you know, we have a winning combination here. And then NBA is a popular sports in China. There's a lot more influence we can make. I'm excited.
Did he reach out to you, or how did you guys connect?
We connected by someone that one of my team member.
Okay, next up, Sean Hyken.
Hey, Tom, you've owned a hockey team for about 8 years, and you've probably been studying the NBA for about a year, however long it's been since you decided you were going to buy the team. What are some things that maybe you found work in the NHL that you think are going to translate over to the NBA, and what are some things that you think you're going to have to maybe adapt and adjust as far as how you run the team and how you run the operations?
So I've been warned a lot that the players it's harder to get through. They make more money. They have a bigger impact on the game. There's less players. You can give the ball to the good ones a lot, and making sure they're all of the same character and effort. And sometimes that's harder in the NBA, I'm told. And so far, I haven't seen it. Like I've been very, very happy with the culture of the organization. You've got a bunch of, I assume you all know this that are fans, but the players here work hard, they care, there's no drama. It's really special relative to what my expectations were, because I didn't know other than what I was told, no different, rumors, and you try not to listen to those things, but you can be impacted sometimes. But I don't think it's that much different than a company, than a basketball team, than a hockey team, right? You set expectations, you work hard, you want people with character and care, and I don't think there's going to be any difference between here, there, and anything else that I do in life.
Next, Ann Peterson.
Hi, Annie Peterson from Associated Press. Tom, how would you describe your management style, and are you going to be a hands-on kind of owner? Are you going to be involved in the day-to-day, or are you going to delegate?
I don't know that it's not that cut and dry. You can be involved and delegate. You can be hands-on and also trust people. I don't trust anyone to make decisions without information and getting. Joe and I have had a lot of talk about this, and he actually does it. But there's coaches and there's scouts, there's analytics. There's a lot of people involved with running these businesses, making decisions. I don't expect to be the decision maker because the process creates obvious answers, but I'll push really hard to go through a process that doesn't leave anyone out and doesn't miss any variables.
All right, Mike Richmond.
Tom, I'm curious how you view the Blazers coaching situation with Chauncey Billups nominally employed and Thiago Splitter entering a decision coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the first situation. I wasn't here, and they don't really talk to us about it. It's none of my business. I think Thiago's done a really good job, and the team is sitting here with sort of this opportunity, and we'll get more information every day. But so far, he's done a great job, and I'm curious to see how this goes from here, because my expectations are I want to win.
Danny Meringue next.
Tom, you've talked about how where the team is right now isn't where you kind of want it to be and where you can get it to. How do you get it to that spot? Is there a desire to make a big splash, which is what we've seen from a lot of owners over the last 5 to 7 years, and kind of what your timeline is to get to where you want to be?
It's really difficult in in these situations to have an actual plan. I think our plan is to work hard, make good decisions, and Joe had a deal that he looked at the trade deadline that I was aware of that would have been what you described as a big splash. And if that opportunity exists, I'm probably more aggressive than most. If it doesn't exist, then you got to go about finding the pieces to continue to get better, and then decide if you can get good enough to win a championship, or you have to take a step back. So I don't think, Joe and I have talked about this a lot, there's no one way this is going to go for sure. If we get a star, we have a chance to win. If we can't find a star, then we got to add some pieces and hope some things develop. And if that doesn't work, then we got to try again with a new plan. And I think there's equal chances for all those things to happen.
Next, we have Eve.
Hi, I'm with the Portland Business Journal. I know that your real estate firm invested in a multi-million-dollar redevelopment effort around the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. Do you have similar plans to invest in redeveloping the area around the Moda Center?
I haven't spent any time on it yet, so I'd love to answer if I knew, but I just don't know yet. But I think those things are interesting to study and look at. It's some of the stuff that's like my hobby, to figure that stuff out. So if there's things to do, I think I'll listen and poke around.
Nick Krupke from KPTV. Why Portland? Why now?
They called me and said there was an NBA team in Portland for sale. And luckily I found a bunch of guys to help me do it, and that's how it happened. I wasn't out looking.
How you guys doing? Congratulations, fellas. Tyree Smith, Coin 6 News. But Joe, this is for you. We haven't had a chance to really hear from you for a while, so I'm kind of curious, when Tom and the ownership group was named as taking over as the owners, kind of what was your initial thoughts, and do you have any kind of maybe feelings about what the future can be in terms of your position here as general manager?
Well, initially, when I first learned this was, almost a year ago, it was mixed emotions, just because I respect Jody Allen and Burt Cold so much that it was knowing that they were leaving this organization was a loss. But then, you quickly turn into what's next? What's this organization going to be now? And as I've gotten to know Tom and his partners, incredibly encouraged. The skill set, the expertise, the drive, the passion, the will to win. For me, it's perfect. And, I think this organization is in an incredible spot to, have all these super capable people to help drive this train, and just couldn't be more optimistic.
Going to go back to Jason Quick.
Tom, so I filed my taxes the other day, and it seems like my money's got a lot of money going out to taxes. And it seems like, an elephant in the room is who's going to pay for the arena upgrades. And so far, it doesn't look like you have much skin in the game. It's all public funding. Is it your position that you're not going to pay rent on this, or there's going to be no relocation penalties? Can you answer to the public that you will have some skin in this game?
Sure. No one's ever told me I didn't have skin in the game before. We don't know each other very well. Look, we're going to negotiate and do a market deal, and they should do a deal. The people that represent the city and the county and your tax dollars are going to do a deal that's great for them, I hope. And then I'm going to try to do the same for the Trailblazers. I think we've got a good framework, and we're moving forward on it, but we're just going to get a market deal, and we're going to be fully committed to it. But how the form and structure of that is, there's a lot of work to do to figure out what that is.
This could be Bill Orm with the Oregonian again. This could be for Tom and probably Dewayne as well. Tom, in the story that Joe Freeman wrote today, you mentioned that you thought renovations on Moda Center should start this summer. Dewayne, we've spoken many times about a 3-summer timeline in 27, 28, 29 before the women's Final Four. I'm curious how you envision getting those renovations started this summer. Obviously, there's the lease that needs to be sorted out. Do you anticipate a lease agreement happening quickly? And then what is the current view of the timeline of those renovations?
It's unclear what the timeline is because of everything you just mentioned, right? There's some work to do. We've been here for 2 or 3 days now, so I desperately want to get started as soon as possible because as you walk around here, you see things and you know what they could be, and but how we accomplish getting started now we haven't sorted that out yet. Dewayne?
Yeah, I think I'd just add the same. Like, obviously, we have to do a whole planning process. We've done some of that work already. But to have Tom and his team here with the expertise that they have, with the knowledge that they have, get some of the things done this summer, with the big plans still being on that timeline to be ready for Final Four.
Tom, right here. Guillermo Mota with KATU. Portland Trailblazers fans have been worried about this team, the rumors of this team possibly leaving back and forth. What is your commitment? And Sheel, I would love your opinion as well as a local. What is your commitment to Portland Trailblazers fans so that they don't have to worry about their team leaving the 503?
You know, it's interesting how when I bought the hockey team, everybody, because I was from Texas, I was going to move the team to Houston. It's all I ever heard about, but I never spent any time on that subject. And I haven't spent any time on anything other than trying to figure out the renovation and the lease, and it's kind of all I've focused on. So anybody who would, you're welcome to write what you want, because if we get attention for the Portland Trailblazers, I appreciate it. But at this time, all I'm focused on is how do we get a lease done and how do we get the building renovated.
And I'll just add, Tom would not have asked me to join this group had that been on the table. And so I just want you guys to know, we're optimistic people. We met with the mayor today. We know that the state has done some amazing work on this also. We're full speed ahead.
All right, winding down, just a few more questions. Joey?
Yeah, guys, Joey Vaca, Coin 6 News. Tom, you are just stepping into this, but on the subject of arena renovations, a lot of the conversation was happening before you got here. How closely were you following the developments locally with the state legislature, with conversations with the city and the county before it was official?
So all that stuff I don't really enjoy. So Dewayne and his team have done a really good job. I just want to know what they want to do so we can get started. But so they kept me updated, but honestly I don't really even understand all the nuances of city, county, state. It's pretty complicated, and I just want to know when it's time to go. But if I can help, I'll help. But I wasn't the owner, so it was not appropriate for me to do very much on the subject. It's starting to get more appropriate.
One or two more. Orlando.
Orlando Sanchez, KGW TV here in Portland. This question's for Tom. And just piggybacking off of your workflow, how often do you see yourself being in Portland, especially early on, and being at games and things like that?
Don't love going to games because I get nervous and I don't want you all taking pictures of my face when something bad happens, So I don't know. I don't go to many games, but what I like to do is work on the stuff, on the fan experience, the building, the roster, all the stuff that's you can do whether you're here or not. But in the beginning, I'll probably be here more because there's so much to learn. And then over time, probably less and come for the big games. Like, especially if we're winning more, it's more fun to come. So the more we win, the more likely I am to be here because the winning part's the part I'm here for.
All right, last question going to Mike Richmond.
Tom and maybe Dewayne as well. Just a point of clarification on the renovation. The number has been floated very specifically by you guys of $600 million. I'm curious if the negotiations were to come up short of that number, is there a way to move forward if you don't hit $600 million with renovation work?
Like $599 or?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like there's so much nuance that goes into that question in terms of term and timing, and there's so many things. But I haven't been a part of many negotiations where someone sets a number down and there's no other variables. And I would expect in this situation there are more variables than just one specific number.
Well, Thank you, gentlemen. I had an opportunity yesterday in a partnership group to meet these gentlemen and talk to Sheel and Tom, and they are very consistent in their messaging and excited about the Blazers. So I know you all are too. The Blazers have a game to win in a few hours. Hopefully everybody will be present for that, or a fan in some way, whether here or far. And we can watch our Blazers continue to have a good close to the season. Thank you all for joining us today. Again, welcome to Rip City, and we look forward to the future. Thank you.